Aber ich fühle Unheil. Ein Verbrechen. Mord.
Hey guys, it's Will. It's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome. Thank you for finding us. I hope you like this video. This is not a Hong Kong movie, so I am breaking the covenant of the title of the channel. I'm here to talk about German films, very far from Hong Kong cinema. And this is kind of going to be an unboxing and kind of a quick movie recommendation. So I got this Eureka set, which is Dr. Mabuse Lives. Dr. Mabuse Lives, excuse me, is the name of it. And then Dr. Mabuse at CCC, which was a West German movie studio, 1960 to 1964. And it is a 6-film set. And it has this amazing, like, hard shell case, which you can I like knocking on these just so you can see here. This is from Eureka Entertainment. It is the Masters of Cinema line, as you can see up here. And it comes out March 31st, which is my birthday. So I thought that would be fun to talk about a little bit. There's 2 discs in here. I mean, excuse me, 2 cases, not 2 discs. So this is the first of the 2 cases. And this contains the first 3 films in the set. This is the one I watched last night, so I am going to talk. I loved it. I really, really loved it. And I went in basically blind. I know very little about these films. If you're unfamiliar, Dr. Mabuse is a character from German literature, if I'm not mistaken. Again, like, I really don't know a ton about this. And there were 2 Fritz Lang films. Fritz Lang, who directed Metropolis and M and a number, and then came to Hollywood and made like a number of really famous film noir movies, and is absolutely one of like the great directors of all time. Um, Fritz Lang made 2 movies about Dr. Mabuse in I think like 1922, like in the Weimar era, and then he made another one in the early 30s that was banned by the Nazis. But Goebbels was so impressed by it, he actually offered Fritz Lang a job, and Fritz Lang was like, "I'm gonna get out of here," and so came to Hollywood. And all of this information is actually a really tremendous 12-minute long introduction to the first film on this set that I watched last night before the movie. It has like some very minor spoilers. I You might want to watch it after you watch the first movie, but it gives you like a ton of context for the series. That's really interesting, like how the movie got made, how Fritz Lang came back to Germany after going to Hollywood, like the evolution of his career, the film industry after the Nazis, and like the collapse of that whole system after World War II and stuff like this. Really is interesting introduction. And then this is the second. So there's 2 films on this disc, and then there's 1 on this disc. This is a Region A and a Region B release, so you can check it out in either territory. German cinema has like a special place in my heart, which you maybe heard me talk about before, or you maybe seen me post about on Twitter if you follow me on Twitter or if you watch this channel, because the first ever classes that I took in cinema at college were in German cinema, because we had an expert in German cinema at the school that I went to for undergrad. I went to the University of Massachusetts Amherst, and Barton Big was the professor there who did German cinema. He was awesome. I took like a kind of an overview of German cinema with him, I believe, and I took like a Weimar cinema class, and we had a library of German cinema at the school that was mostly VHS tapes. But it was one of the biggest libraries, particularly of East German cinema outside of Germany. So it was really cool. So his is that's not Dr. Mabuse, that's the, what the fuck is the guy's name? I can't remember the guy's name. Cornelius, that's his name. He's one of the characters in the film that I watched last night. This is actually the opening kind of like title card from the film I watched last night, which is The Thousand Eyes of Dr. Mabuse. And I don't want to show you too much of this booklet because there's 6 films in here and they kind of go over all of the films, and I don't want to like spoil anything. So there's a lot of great essay. I mean, this is like a long booklet, obviously, because it's covering an entire series of films. So like I said, I kind of went in blind. I knew a little bit about the character. I knew that it had been based on a Fritz Lang film, and this is the artwork too. When you take the Tony Stella artwork, right, which is amazing. I am a huge fan of James Bond movies, especially like 60s James Bond movies, and I also really like the Roger Moore Bond films. I'm a really big fan of The Avengers, the 1960s TV show with Diana Rigg as Emma Peel and John Steed and that whole. And I just like I really like that kind of stuff from that kind of era in general. Like kind of espionage, Cold War stuff with eccentric characters and psychotic villains and like mad scientists and people trying to destroy the world with these insane plots to like blow everything up and like basically the kind of stuff that Austin Powers is making fun of. I love those movies. I did not know that this was going to be like of that school. This actually came out in 1960, so it was before Doctor No, and it's very kind of early in that trend of kind of that style of storytelling and that type of world. And I loved it. So the setup, and it's very interesting too, because it is a very much like an entertaining, pulpy, like mainstream film, right? It's a mystery basically, where this reporter dies, and the cop investigating it starts to realize that all of these people who have stayed at this same hotel called the Luxor have died. And what's really interesting about the hotel is that, it was built by the Nazis. So there's this really interesting thematic thing going on in the background, connecting, like, Nazism and the Gestapo with, like, the paranoia of the Cold War era and the feeling that you're always being spied on by somebody, right? Which is one of the things about this hotel where people are always constantly paranoid. They're like, "All these people who show up here are, like, disappearing or dying. Is there some kind of surveillance operation happening here? Like, is it like what's going on?" Right? So this cop is trying to figure out what about this hotel is making all these things happen, and there's all these eccentric characters who are either staying at the hotel or associated with the hotel or who work for the hotel who don't really seem to be who you think they are, but you can't quite figure out, like, there are moments where it seems really obvious what's happening, and then there will be, like, a twist and another twist and another twist. You're like, "Oh, that person's not who I thought they were. That person's not who I thought they were," and it really does keep you guessing. It's a really exciting movie, but it has, like, mad science, and there's, like I said, there's this character Cornelius who's, like, a blind psychic who, like, is keeps predicting people's futures, and, like, there's all these crazy gadgets and weapons, and, it's just, like, a really fun movie it's got, like, a really awesome car chase in it and, like, shootout and, some really fun, like, fight scenes and stuff like that. And obviously, if you're a fan of, like, Hong Kong cinema, don't expect, like, Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee or Sammo Hung, Yuen Biu. Like, it's not that kind of fight scene, right? But there's some fun, like, fisticuffs and, like, people getting shot and like I said, there's a really good car chase, like, somebody gets thrown from a car, and there's, like, motorbikes involved, and it's really fun. It's very well directed. Obviously, Fritz Lang is, like I said, one of, like, the great filmmakers of all time, but I watched this movie last night kind of on a whim. I didn't know what to watch last night, and like I said, German cinema kinda has this special place in my heart, and Metropolis is a really important movie in my life. I actually wrote 2 separate, like, major papers on that when I was in college that were, like, important parts of grades for, like, courses I was taking and stuff like that, and so I spent a lot of time watching that movie, rewatching that movie, thinking about that movie, analyzing that movie, and so Fritz Lang is the director of Metropolis, and I think actually the guy who plays the mad scientist in Metropolis played Dr. Mabuse in the original, the 1922 Fritz Lang film. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's true. So I was just like, "You know what? Let me just throw this movie on and see what I think about it." And I just fucking like, I really just love it. It's just like pure entertainment, excitement, like that kind of stuff really stimulates my creativity too. I like the nuttiness of it. And it's also just it's a really freaking good mystery. So if you're a big fan of like whodunits and like Agatha Christie style stuff or like Hitchcock, there's some very Hitchcockian elements to this film. So I think if you like Hitchcock's God, what am I like Strangers on a Train or like The 39 Steps, Lady Vanishes, like that kind of stuff. I think you would really dig this movie. There's 5 more films in the series that I have not watched yet, so I'm really excited to get to those. They are The Return of Dr. Mabuse, The Invisible Dr. Mabuse, The Testament of Dr. Mabuse, Scotland Yard Hunts Dr. Mabuse. That'll be fun. The Death Ray of Dr. Mabuse, which I'm really excited about because who doesn't love death rays? So this is the Eureka set, Mabuse Lives. Like I said, it's coming out March 31st, which is my birthday, so happy birthday to me, on the Masters of Cinema line with this amazing Tony style artwork with the hard slipcase and all of the films housed within. If I like the rest of the 5 films on here, even like half as much as I liked the first one, this is well worth the cost of admission. I highly recommend this. Again, like I said, I know I'm just feeling like I'm flogging a dead horse here, but if you love James Bond, the Avengers, like that type of 60s espionage, Cold War era storytelling with just like good mysteries, nutty villains, eccentric characters, crazy henchmen, like weird gadgets and weapons, you're gonna love this. I'm Will. You are watching Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society, even though we're talking about German films. I appreciate the fact that you are watching this, and we will see you next time.